Candid, captivating, compelling. Welcome to Cannabis Confidential with Dr. Dina. Listen in as Dr. Dina, medical marijuana pioneer and inspiration for the award-winning TV series Weeds, shares never-before-heard stories, chats with cannabis insiders and celebrity friends, and provides invaluable perspective and insight into one of the fastest-growing industries in the world. CannabisRadio.com proudly presents Cannabis Confidential with your host, Dr. Dina.
Welcome back to Cannabis Confidential. I'm your host, Dr. Dina. Thank you for joining us. Today we have another awesome guest, David Faustino. He is Bud Bundy from Married with Children. I know you guys all watched that show when you were growing up and you all just idolized Bud Bundy. Well, we have the man here today. And it's actually really ironic because I have a lot of friends in Hollywood, and a couple of my friends on the show, Sons of Anarchy, they joke about, they gave their show a nickname and they call themselves the Sons of Peggy Bundy. And
that's hilarious.
Right? And then it just occurred to me, wait a second, I actually know her two TV sons and I'm friends with them. And I thought that was pretty cool because I've got Charlie Hunnam and you. So welcome,
it's
David.
It's a small world.
It is a small world. Welcome, welcome.
Good to be here. How's it going?
It is going well. So I wanted to just tell everyone who's listening about how I actually met you, which goes back so far. I probably shouldn't even name dates because it's just going to date us. But I remember back in 1991, there was this really cool club that opened up that all my friends wanted to go to. And it was the first all-age hip-hop club. And I remember going to this place, and it was called Balistyx. And I remember going there, and I met you, and it turns out it was your club, and you had partnered up with Nick Adler, who's Lou Adler's son. If you guys don't know who that is, you're slacking on the music scene. Pretty much creators.
You need to look up Lou Adler if you don't know.
Go look up Lou. He's amazing, and he created Cheech and Chong, so that alone is pretty ridiculous. But they have a bunch of nightclubs, and you guys took over. Was it the Whiskey that it was at?
Yeah, we did the Whiskey to Go-Go every Thursday night.
God, I remember that like it was yesterday. And the scene there was crazy. It was crazy. And that is where I actually met Eazy-E for the first time.
Yeah.
I think I was like 16. And here I am hanging out with Eazy-E. He was the coolest guy ever. And I ended up like staying friends with him. And it's interesting because people ask me, how do I know all these people? And it's not just because I'm in the cannabis industry. It's because I grew up in LA and we knew really cool people. But you are definitely one of them that was always like the ringleader and bringing everyone together to have a good time. And it was just so cool because I think that really changed the way that our generation viewed hip hop music. You know, I think that it changed the way that we saw race and culture, and it kind of blended it into one, because I think our generation is the first generation to like get that cannabis should be legal, or that it should be accessible to everyone or descheduled, and that people shouldn't be going to jail for it. And I think that the music behind that really helped. So
yeah, it was a really amazing time. I mean, so many magical things happened during that whole Balistyx era. I mean, to this day, I mean, you know how immersed I am in the hip hop scene. You know, to this day, I'll meet people who I had no idea were, at the club. I mean, you must remember will.i.am.
Of course, that's right. Didn't you give him like his first chance to like even put a microphone in his hand?
Well, I mean, I can't really take the only credit I can take is just because I threw the club and I decided to hold a freestyle contest every week. And the rest of the credit is due to him. I mean, the guy, no one could beat him. I'm talking like months and months in a row. And then you mentioned Eazy, and so I don't know if you know this, but he was Will 1X at the time. But Eazy signed Will to Ruthless Records. That was their first record deal, was with Ruthless.
Wow, I didn't even realize that. That's insane.
And that all happened from him seeing him at Balistyx.
And then didn't you introduce him to Fergie?
Well, yeah, they all met there, and that's where the whole group came together. They were originally called the At-Band Clan. And if you can look up their first record is really interesting, the one they released from Ruthless, but they're called the At-Band Clan at the time. But anyway, it was a great time at Balistyx, and one other side story, it's funny because I've known Robin Thicke my whole life. We grew up together. But I did not
And I went to high school with Robin, by the way.
Well, again, LA just being the smallest town in the world. He met, I guess, are they officially divorced?
Robin, yeah, they're divorced.
Yeah, they met there. Him and Paula met at Balistyx.
Oh my gosh. You're right.
Yes.
That's so funny. That was the place. Like, that's where I met all my little boyfriends back in the day. I mean, that was the place to go. And the biggest, like, the worst thing your parents could do was to ground you on Thursday night. And you had to, like, make up some excuse why you had to go out because you had school the next day. But it was like, oh, I'm sleeping at so-and-so's house because her mom would let us go. And we would all, or not, we would sneak out. There were times where we paid off her housekeeper to sleep in her bed. And we snuck out the window and called a cab and got to the club.
Man.
It was anything we could do to get out there. It was pretty incredible.
Wasn't it so much fun? And the one thing I wanted to mention is that that was the first. I think you mentioned earlier, because hip hop at that time was all you had to go basically to the hood if you wanted to go to a hip hop club. So we were like these little rich white guys that had access to anything we wanted, and we were like, "Fuck it, let's bring hip hop, to the Sunset Strip." And that's what we did, and the West Hollywood Sheriff's Department didn't love us very much for a while, but.
Yeah, I remember it being a lot. But that was also a different time. That's when Sunset Boulevard was like the place to be where you would just drive back and forth and like
check
people out in the car. It was so weird, and just girls on the backs of motorcycles with their little underwear sticking out. It was like the thing to do was to be seen cruising on the Sunset Strip. They made it a no cruising zone. So I remember when I actually turned 16 is when they made that a no cruising zone, or maybe I was 17. We were afraid that if we drove past a location we were going to and had to make a U-turn and come back, that we would get a ticket, because it was that serious back then. So it was like you just had to keep going, don't get lost. It was pre-GPS days.
For people who don't go back as far as we do, or who aren't in LA, it's like, it's so funny you bring that back, because I remember you would sit in your car with all your friends, you'd sneak some booze, into the back seat, and like you would just cruise Sunset Boulevard, and would be jam packed with people, and like people like partying out their cars. And
the only thing I could compare it to, it was like that for spring break in Palm Springs for a while too, but Vegas, like Vegas Strip, like that was like the same kind of when you cruise the strip. Even now you can't cruise it because it's just traffic and it's just taxi cabs everywhere. But it was very different back in the day. We used to just all party in our cars, and it was very, very cool.
And I'm sure you went to some of the parties back in Nick Adler's place in Malibu.
Is that Malibu? Okay, I remember I actually got grounded because I think I slept there one night. I don't know if I slept, but I probably didn't get home till like 10 in the morning. And I remember my dad was sitting in a lawn chair in our driveway with a blanket over him eating. It's like he must have waited all night for me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I got in big trouble. And then I told him I was at Lou Adler's house, and he was horrified.
Oh, it was even worse.
Yeah, it was even worse. It was like, then there was no parental guidance there. Right. What's going on? Where were the parents? I'm like, I think his dad was, I think his parent, I don't know. I don't remember seeing anyone. It was just a bunch of kids. Like,
I love hearing all these little side stories, man. That like shit that went on that I don't know about. Like, I love that your dad was sitting in a lawn chair with a blanket waiting for you.
Oh yeah, all because of you, David. Because of the parties that you started. So after all those years of partying, we all kind of went our ways and went to college or whatever we did. And, the Balistyx ended. But I do remember Balistyx moving to Highland. Didn't you move
that's when moved to Highland and started getting super seedy, like, toward the end.
Yeah, towards the end. That's when we stopped going. But in the beginning, it was really the whiskey. That was an amazing experience. And I think that for me, no club has ever really been able to recreate that experience. It was like Studio 54 for kids, essentially, in Hollywood.
It was the greatest. It was the greatest.
And there was always someone there that you wanted to meet or know, or, and it was pre-Instagram, pre-photos. You didn't really take your camera with you, you're a dork if you did. So
right.
It was crazy. I don't have pictures of these experiences, but I remember them so vividly. We're going to have to take a break. David, I know it's so much fun chatting, but you guys stay tuned and listen to our commercials, We'll be back with more Bud Bundy, David Faustino from Married with Children.
Cannabis Confidential with Dr. Dina will continue after a word from our most confident sponsors.
Your connection to quality cannabis insurance services is spelled Kaercher. That's Karcher Insurance. We have worked with ventures like Cannabis for over 60 years. We're proud to represent over 50 companies with tailor-made cannabis plans for owners just like you to insure your product, your plants, and your pursuits. Kaercher spells out their full-service insurance services ranging from commercial to bonds, to personal, from life to health, and more. Contact the team at CarcherInsurance.com and let our experience work for you. That's Kaercher Insurance.com.
Contact Karen and the team at Karcher Insurance at 1-844-421-3560. That's 844-421-3560.
Great websites today need expert web design and development and need to be e-commerce ready and mobile friendly. But building a marketable and profitable website can be an uphill climb. Ready to make your new website or replace your existing website? Think Orange as the new way to get in the black. Orange Hill Development works with Fortune 500 companies and offer the same top quality development service at a fraction of what other providers charge. Brands like Absolute, Carlsberg, and Nestea trust Orange Hill Development. Find out why you should trust your website with Orange Hill. Contact Orange Hill for a consultation today at orangehilldevelopment.com.
Educator, author, and advocate Dr. Mitch Earlywine is here to tackle the burning issues.
And I'm here to clear up the myths about cannabis and burn them away with science.
CannabisRadio.com presents a no-holds-barred platform that seeks to redefine and revolutionize the entire scope of the cannabis culture while opening the door for more to join the cannabis crusade.
Dr. Kevin Hill.
You can't ignore the fact that, like alcohol, most people who use don't have a problem. So I think that you need to think about policy in that way while educating people properly about marijuana. I think that's the way to go.
Burning Issues, only on CannabisRadio.com.
Dr. Dina is back with more Cannabis Confidential, only on CannabisRadio.com.
Welcome back to Cannabis Confidential. We've got David Faustino on the line, Bud Bundy from Married with Children, and we were discussing how we first met back in the Hollywood days. By the way, you were awfully young to start a business like this with Nick. I mean, that's kind of edgy, David.
I mean, it was just cool because, like I said, we were kids that were very privileged and lucky. I had, I was on a hit TV show, and Nick, of course, being the son of Lou Adler and them owning the actual, clubs. It was just a perfect mesh.
Am I having like a flashback? Was Robin Thicke, did he DJ?
No, he didn't DJ, but we had great guests. We had DJ Speed of NWA. He was our main DJ. And it was cool because I hadn't seen him in probably about 20 years, and he just came and did my radio show to promote, their new film coming out. Yeah, the NWA film.
That's really cool. I love them. So years later, after Balistyx, we would run into each other here and there. But then I started the first dispensary in Southern California called the Sunset Shop. And one day, you remember that one. And I remember one day you were walking by with your dog, and I had the doctor's office right, 2 doors down, and I flagged you down. I was like, David, you have to come in, check this out. And you were like, what? What's going on over here? And here you go. Next thing you know, you're checking out the store, and you're like, wait a second, this is amazing. Was that the first weed shop you've ever been to?
Yeah, the only medical marijuana I've seen up to that point was at a friend's place, and he had brought out a big, sort of case of a bunch of different flavors, and I was just like blown away. I had never seen that. So then that kind of, then it was like a few months later. So that your shop was the very, very, very first one I had ever walked into. And like you said, I had my dog with me, like you said. And
I remember.
Yeah. and then I was in there a lot after that.
All the time.
Yeah. Wasn't that there wasn't that many at that time, were there?
there was like 3 in all of Southern California. We were the first to open, and then actually there was another shop that opened before us. Then we opened, and then those other shops closed down. So for a while, it was just us and Oz, where where I hang out all the time. You come visit me at now.
Right, man. Yeah, I was blown away. I was completely blown away.
Isn't it unbelievable?
I'm still blown away.
Now that was like what, a decade ago? Over a decade ago, probably.
Is that right? I don't know.
It had to have been like maybe at least 2005. Yeah, it's been
think
at
you're
least
right.
10
Yeah.
years.
Because I was with my ex-wife at the time.
I do remember that. I sold her wedding dress.
Oh shit! I forgot about that. You reminded me about that when I saw you at Oz.
That's right.
You sold my ex-wife her wedding dress?
Yeah, for the Vegas wedding.
Where at?
I had a clothing store called O Boutique on Sunset, right where H&M is now, right across the street from your house.
Oh, that was your place, O Boutique.
Yeah. Well, it was my
my
ex-fiance's brothers, but I worked there with him.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
See, it's just so intertwined. So,
it really is.
What I want to know is when you first came into the dispensary, did you feel nervous being a celebrity walking into a weed store? Were you like expecting cameras to be waiting for you outside, or was it just like a normal experience of going into like a Rite Aid or a CVS pharmacy?
I wouldn't say necessarily like a Rite Aid or a CVS pharmacy, but I was I didn't have like fear or worry about it. I don't remember, but I don't remember at all being like, ooh, I'm scared someone's going to take my picture here.
Wow.
Because I've always
what are they going to say? Bud Bundy smokes bud? I mean, come on.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a big shocker.
No. And that's what's actually amazing is that the word bud, like when you refer to weed as bud, it almost to my generation comes from your part on Married with Children, especially after like Grandmaster B.
You never know. I mean, I get people hitting me up on social media, with that very question all the time. I think the writers, mentioned, I think I said in one of the episodes, like, wasn't I named after a beer dad or something? But then later on in an interview with High Times, I think it was, I said, I think maybe it wasn't just beer he was named after.
I like that. So is there a future to more Married with Children? You told me you were hoping to work on the next generation.
Yeah, so where that project is actually at the current time is, we came very far with it. As a matter of fact, the entire cast, including, Christina, Katie, they're all down to do, recurring roles on a spinoff. Sony loves the idea, everybody excited. However, one legal issue came about with one individual that's trying to be worked out. And it has nothing to do with a cast member or a studio exec. It's a family member type thing So they're trying to work out that issue. And if that issue is worked out, it'll happen. Yeah, we're hoping it does. I mean, because the fans want it. It's been all over the press, over the last few months. And yeah, it would be great. And if one person was able to hold that up, it'd be really sad. So we're hoping for the best.
Yeah, my fingers are crossed. I really would love to see something like that. We need you guys back.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We need more Bud Bundy. And you look great. I mean, come on. You lived Hollywood life. In Hollywood, it's like dog years, You have to add like an extra 7 for every year that you are. I think that you look incredible for living a Hollywood lifestyle and still rocking it out. And what I love about you is that you are so immersed in the hip-hop scene still, and that you have your own radio show as well, which I was a guest on, so this is really neat having you as a guest on my show.
Yes,
and
you were.
On Old Scratch Radio?
Yeah, that's Old Scratch Radio Hour. We do it every Sunday night at 5 o'clock on Dash Radio. Dash is awesome. Actually, have you been to Dash?
No, I just went to your house.
You should come over there. No, you should come over to Dash and talk about doing a show over there. They'd love it.
Oh, I'm sure my producers would love that too.
No, I mean on a different topic, whatever. But at some point maybe. So we do it every Sunday 5 o'clock on Dash Radio, and it's called the Old Scratch Radio Hour. I've had amazing guests, much like yourself. This Sunday I have Tom Green is my guest this Sunday.
That's awesome.
Last week I had your boy Adam Ill was my guest, and Jason.
Adam and Jason. That must have been an interesting combination.
It was quite a wonderful combination. It's a great interview. It'll be up in the archives soon, but it's a lot of fun. Adam was hilarious. And,
Adam is a funny guy.
He really is. And just listening to his voice back on the radio is hilarious. If your guests don't know what we're talking about, of course, Adam Ill from Getting High With, right, on Be Real TV.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. You could find him at Getting High With on Instagram. He is hilarious.
He's very funny, and he does the secret sessions every Sunday, a secret smoke sesh. You know about those,
and
right?
they're getting huge.
They're getting huge.
Yep, bigger and bigger and bigger. So basically the smoke sesh, for you guys who are listening at home, is a party that these guys throw, and you basically just buy a ticket to go, and it is like almost like a mini Cannabis Cup event without being like, it's not really about judging. It's just about having fun and smoking together and giveaways, and it's really cool.
Oh, man, yeah. You meet a lot of cool people, and I had great people. It was my first one I had ever been to. And it was just a lot of fun, and everybody was just it was just a good vibe, you know?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, listen, we're going to have to take another short break because we're running out of time, but we'll be right back, and we'll be joined again with David Faustino, Bud Bundy from Married with Children.
Cannabis Confidential with Dr. Dina will continue after a word from our most confident sponsors.
MJWellness.com, the largest medical marijuana community in the world. Connect with thousands of patients, doctors, industry leaders, and businesses through shared personal experiences along our worldwide network. Discover new therapies and benefits with content tailored to you. Come grow your network on MJWellness.com. You're not alone. Your wellness matters. Learn, live, and thrive. Check out MJWellness.com today.
Ganjapreneur.com, your guide to the cannabis business world. Ganjapreneur.com is a comprehensive resource for cannabis professionals and entrepreneurs. Download the Ganjapreneur app on your smartphone or tablet to catch up on cannabis industry news, scroll through our daily job listings, and learn about successful cannabis companies, executives, and investors. Ganjapreneur.com, helping Ganjapreneurs grow.
Doc Rob, the concierge for better living.
Cannabis is just one of the many great plants that we have on this planet called Earth that we can use consciously and intelligently to improve our well-being.
Take a real, raw, inside look at healthier living while sharing great ideas and improvements for a better quality of life.
Learning to live and live well is a lifelong process. This is a journey. You could be 80 years old or 8 years old. You can still learn something that's going to make tomorrow a little bit healthier, a little bit easier, a little bit happier, a little bit better.
The concierge for better living with Doc Rob. Only on CannabisRadio.com.
Dr. Dina is back with more Cannabis Confidential, only on CannabisRadio.com.
Hey, this is David Faustino, and I'm on Cannabis Confidential with my girl Dr. Dina on CannabisRadio.com.
Welcome back to Cannabis Confidential. We've got David Faustino on the line, Bud Bundy from Married with Children, and I have a bunch of cannabis questions for you, David. Are you ready?
Oh, here we go.
All right. So number one, what is your favorite strain?
You know, got to go with the old regular OG
Oh,
Kush.
Good answer. I know you like Chiba Chews. I realized that after I asked that, I'm like, oh, he's a Chiba guy.
Yeah, after I cleaned out your entire store of all the Chiba Chews you had.
Did you really? Is that where they went? Have you been eating? That's what happened to you.
I think I got pretty close.
Well, I brought one of those home, and a friend of mine took one, and I told him, cut it into 8 pieces, and he ate the whole thing. And he slept through court. He's a lawyer. He slept through court. He was not very pleased with me. But yeah, those things are strong, man. Okay, so let's get back to topic. The
Decadose. The
Decadose. Yeah, that's the one that I accidentally gave him. So back to cannabis. What are your feelings about legalization of cannabis? Are you pro, anti? What's your deal?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm pro. I just think it should be legalized, and it should be. You know, I still think there should be a medical option. Obviously, a medical marijuana program here for those who want to remain, you know, getting their meds that way. But that it should be legalized for anybody who, you know, wants to use marijuana recreationally as well.
Have you ever seen anyone do anything crazy on weed?
Just eat maybe a gallon of ice cream.
Okay, so that's the worst thing. All right.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do really, really, really stupid things on alcohol, including myself. But weed, probably the worst thing is you can't. Maybe you might have to ask your girlfriend about the plot line of a movie that you're watching together because you've lost it.
Oh, that sounds familiar in my house, actually. I have to explain Game of Thrones. Every episode of Game of Thrones, I have to give a breakdown of like who everybody is. I'm like, we've been watching like 3 or 4 seasons. How do you not know this by now?
Oh, yes. So it's you doing it for your boyfriend?
Yeah.
Are you guys married or boyfriend and girlfriend?
We're getting married on Saturday, actually.
Oh shit!
Oh, a little crazy. Thank you. You're going to be my last show as a single lady, David.
Oh shit! So you have to explain a lot of plot lines to him, huh?
Forever.
That's genius. Forever. That's what my girl has to do for me.
That should be in our vows that I should have to explain plot lines forever.
Exactly. So death do you part, you have to explain all the plot lines.
That is right. That is right. Okay, so if there was one thing that you would like the world to know about you, what would it be?
One thing I want the world to know about me? I don't know. I don't really care what they know about me. I just would like.
What about any exciting news?
Exciting news?
Yeah.
Well, I'm about to have my first child. That's pretty exciting.
There you go. I wasn't going to like ruin your surprise for you, but yes.
Is that where you were like leading me on?
I am so excited. Okay, hold on a second. Who is the person that told you were having a girl? That was me.
You.
Yes. I was.
You did.
Adamant that you were having a girl, and why is that? Because of karma.
I know. Everybody knew I was having a girl.
You were convinced you were having a boy. You were like, no, it's a boy. I'm like, no, it's not.
No, was I? But yes. You know what? I'm actually happy I'm having a girl.
Me too.
I really am.
I can't wait to see daddy's little girl just wrapped around your finger.
It's going to be like my dogs now.
I see. I know how you are with your dogs, and David is the sweetest dog dad. You guys, you would just freak out. His dogs are all like the sweetest dogs ever, but he picks his dog up and carries her up the stairs because her hips are bad. You're so sweet.
Did you see that on my Instagram post?
Yes, I was like, oh. He's so nice.
So speaking of cannabis and that dog that we're talking about now. So that's Sophie. That's the same dog that I had brought in to your store all those years ago, right? She's 14 now. Wow. And, you know, she's sick and has a lot going on. But I just ended up getting her the, what is it, Companion
Cannabis.
Companion Cannabis. I got that for her just last night. And,
it's one drop for every 10 pounds.
Right. Unless I'm giving it to her, then it's 3 drops for every 10 pounds.
Wow, there you go.
No.
Did you give it to her yet?
I did. She slept well last night.
Oh, well, let's hope that she is going to do a lot better with that, because I've seen great results with that companion cannabis, and you don't have to give them the pharmaceuticals. And so there you go. Yeah. You're pro cannabis really for even pets too.
I'm really excited to see, if it'll what kind of difference it'll make either on her pain level or her being able to sleep, or even sometimes holding down milk, because like I said, she's really old and she's sick. So.
Well, let's hope that this works. And we're out of time, so I'm so bummed because I could talk to you for another 3 hours and maybe.
I know, it was great.
No.
Can I shamelessly plug then?
Absolutely.
Follow me at David Faustino. That's me across the board on all social media, just at David Faustino. And then, of course, I'm doing How to Train Your Dragon, which is on Netflix now. 3rd season just dropped. It's actually a really cool show. I play Dagger, so check that out. And then, of course, Old Scratch Radio Hour every Sunday night on Dash Radio.
Love that. Well, thank you so much, David. You guys, I want to thank my producer, Brasco, for making this all happen. Join us next week for another episode of Cannabis Confidential with Dr. Dina. Thank you so much. Bye, David. You're awesome.
Thanks, Dina. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
The opinions expressed on this CannabisRadio.com program are those of the guests and hosts and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff and management of CannabisRadio.com. Any rebroadcast or redistribution without proper consent of CannabisRadio.com is prohibited.